Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Josh Chris podcast. Today, I am here with another guest, Faith, and we are going to be talking about a lot of beautiful things. Yeah, so we've got a lot to talk about today, so I'm just gonna get started already. Hey, I am super excited having you here. It's been for a minute. Actually, we've been trying to schedule this thing.
That's true.
Yeah, it's so good to, finally have you on the call. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm fine. And you?
I'm good. I'm doing really good. Thank you. Appreciate you asking. All right. So, Faith, can you tell us a bit about yourself and, your journey into tech, what initially drew you to front end, in mobile development?
Yeah, so um, I'm Faith Umunnakwe, and my journey in tech started in the most unconventional way. I studied biochemistry in school, but then somewhere along the line, I studied biochemistry. I was in fashion, but somewhere along the line, like 3 years into my fashion career, I decided I wanted something more.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, that was what inspired me to go into tech. But now the issue was I didn't know what aspect of tech to go into. So at first I went into digital marketing. I bought a course and I started learning about digital marketing. But then some like halfway into the whole thing, I realized that digital marketing is not for me, and I took up front end. And I'll say it's been exciting. And then some years into the line, I'm now a seasoned front end developer and a mobile developer who is proficient in React, Vue, and React Native. I don't know what
That's
the future
awesome.
holds, but yeah, it's a journey.
That's really beautiful. So a
Yeah,
follow-up question, yeah. A follow-up question, was gonna be you telling me about any specific people, experiences or resources that actually influenced your decision to become a developer. But, you answering the first question, I think you pretty much said it was that drive, you had that drive in you and you wanted
yeah,
to do something else. It's
yeah,
it's cool, wonderful.
yeah.
All right, so do you want to share a project or accomplishment in your career that you're proud of and tell me why it stands out?
Okay, so I would say it's a hailing app that I built. Company I was working for, like that was a year ago or 2 years ago, thereabout. And I am actually particularly proud of that app because that was my first professional React Native app.
Awesome.
And yeah, it was really a learning experience, and I built beautiful things as I learned. I worked alongside very good React Native developers, but why that product stood out is because of the intricate functionalities. It kind of helped me to pay more attention to details. It helps me to harness some parts of my skills that I didn't know I had. Yeah, and I'll say that that's one very outstanding project, though it's not yet out. I don't know, some legal issues, but yeah.
Okay. All right, that's cool. That sounds very exciting, doesn't it? Yeah, it
It does.
does. Okay, so now here is something interesting. I do really want to learn about this. And what is that? What motivated you to shift into mobile application development? You didn't start off as a mobile developer, did you? I don't think so. Did you start off?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what motivated you to, have that shift? And how did you navigate that transition in your career?
Okay, so what? It's not a grand story. It came
Okay.
out of necessity because the company I was working for then, we had done most of our web projects, and then the person working on the mobile needed help. And then the CTO was like, Faith, you need to jump on this. And the assumption is you are into React. So
Yeah.
navigating React Native isn't going to be so difficult. And so it was challenging because I'm someone that overthinks, I fear a lot, especially when I'm trying to do something I've not done before. I always push myself, but that initial
Yeah.
fear is always there. So, but that was the actual thing. I quickly took a crash course, then went into the code base and tried to understand what's going on. So, like I always say, as a developer, being a developer doesn't necessarily mean, oh, you know this language or you know that language. It's all about how you adapt to new technologies. So that's something I had mastered because I'm self-taught. So being self-taught actually taught me to pick up skills in such a short time and adapt to that skill as fast as possible. So imagine when you're pushed into a project and you're supposed to start producing results immediately. It was quite challenging, but I did it because I was adaptable.
That's so amazing. That's really cool. Guys, just so you know, I'll give you a little backstory here. We had a chat before, starting the interview, and we've got quite a couple of questions, so we'll get around through them because I know that Faith has got a lot to say, so she's just giving us summarized versions right now. But that's really
Yeah.
beautiful. Think about it. I mean, that's so great. You know what's going through my mind right now? Was that a startup? The company you were working?
Yeah, so that's a good
Okay.
thing. Earlier in my career, I worked for just mostly startups.
Yeah. Yeah.
I always advise people when you're going into tech, try to work for startup because you get your hands dirty, you work on a lot of projects. Most
Yeah.
startups are not organized and somehow it works in your favor because normally nobody will just push someone that doesn't have a prior experience to work on React Native. But because it's a startup, everything is fast paced and just random. So it kind of help you to work, to learn, to adapt, to push yourself, unlike an established organization. Yeah, so I always advise people the early stage of your career, try and work with startups that has a lot of
Yeah.
projects. Yeah.
That's so awesome. Do you know what? I just really want to dive in. We could actually sit here for a few more minutes just talking about this, analyzing, different nooks and crannies. It's just beautiful where we're at right now talking about this. Do you want to talk about how resourceful you'd get, working on a startup and stuff like that? It's a beautiful one indeed. So, but I'm just gonna move on. Very nice. So, of course, you did talk about, you said a few things, about you learning. You took some crash courses. So, do you
Yeah.
want to share a little bit in more detail, maybe a structured highlights, you know, of how you approached learning? Did you attend a boot camp? You said you took a course, and do you want to walk us through that?
Okay, so I didn't attend a boot camp. It's mostly just buying online courses. So first I took up free code camp.
Okay.
Um, all CSS. I think web development course on free code camp. And then after that, I went ahead to get Udemy courses on
Oh yeah.
advanced CSS, later on to JavaScript. And one thing I tried to do is ensure that I don't skip the basics. So I ensured that I understood the basics, the foundation of every other thing. Because the mistake a lot of people make is that they just go straight into maybe learning a framework without really understanding JavaScript. In fact, what I do most times, beginning of every year, is to take a JavaScript refresher because that's actually the foundation of everything I do. So yeah, after getting a JavaScript course, and I took a lot of courses on the sites on YouTube, crash courses, got my hands dirty, created a lot of personal applications, and then I went ahead to learn React as a framework. I had researched to know what framework is more popular, and I settled with React, and it's been interesting. Yeah, so that's how the journey is or was. Mostly just online courses, YouTube. I had a mentor, and I had a mentor that was really helpful. He
Yeah.
guided, yeah, so he was a very good help to me as well.
That's so awesome. That's really cool. The fact that you actually take, a refresher JavaScript course, at the beginning of every year, as you
Yeah.
said. That's really cool. That's cool. So, I mean, um, what was the deciding factor for you? Was it, React being popular? Um, For why did you actually choose React?
Okay, so yeah, I asked a couple of questions, and most of the people I asked, and remember I told you I had a mentor back
Oh
then.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he kind of leaned towards React, but something else influenced it. So when I finished JavaScript and I was already learning React, I won't say that influenced it, okay. But then where my internship too was most of their projects where I did my internship, most of their projects were in React. So naturally, I had to master React better. Though
Oh
I was already,
yeah,
yeah.
that makes
Um,
sense.
yes, and then because it's popular, it actually was another deciding factor because I believe with React, there's no problem I face in React that somebody else has not encountered or solved. And I later went on to learn Vue, and I would still prefer React. I like the way the syntax is, I like the state management, the routing, everything about React better than Vue. But I had to take up Vue because of a job too.
Okay.
So yeah, so someone recommended me for a job. She's a front end dev, and they quickly needed someone. So I jumped into the contracts role. And it was on the stand up I realized that they use Vue.js. I had to learn it. So that's what I talk about um, adaptability and not being too.
Yeah,
The learning process can be a bit dirty, like
yeah,
disorganized. Yeah.
yeah,
So yeah, but learning Vue, I did really enjoy Vue, but I had to learn it for the job. So it's always React. React is my go-to anytime, any day.
yeah. That's awesome. So you've been a developer for how long?
4 years.
All right, and then you've been a mobile developer. How long have you been doing mobile development?
I'll say 2 years. Two
All
to three
right.
years.
So from your experience, do you want to talk about this? So as applications actually grow in complexity, right?
Yeah.
What strategies, ensure code quality and maintain readability in front-end development, for large projects? You could just give us a structured highlights in order to get into, detail.
Okay. So I would say to keep your code readable and effective, I use the dry principle. Do not repeat yourself. I ensure
Okay.
that reusable logic. I create a hook for reusable logic. I create smaller components for reusable user interfaces. As simple as that sound, that helps a lot
Yeah.
because you write a lot more cleaner code when you break it down. Code splitting helps a lot, even for performance, and that's one of the major problems with large applications. They always have performance issues, but splitting your code helps a lot. So that's one thing that I always ensure that I do, especially for a large project. Then creating hooks for reusable logics, um, as well as wrapping expensive functions or expensive logic in. We use callback, memorizing components as well. Yeah, so that helps a lot. Then better naming convention, like ensuring I name my functions, my variable, my components properly that are at least at a glance of those components, you kind of have an idea what it does, so that when someone else takes up my code, it's not going to be so difficult to understand. And then I leave comments in some strategic places as well. Though I still aim to ensure that my code is understandable even without reading comments, but there are some parts of the code I have to like drop comments and all. So that's the
Yeah, that's really cool. All right.
yeah.
So, do you want to talk about some common performance bottlenecks, that you've personally encountered in front-end developments and how do you address or resolve them?
Okay, so mostly for components, there are some features like the search. It's an example, like the search feature, where for every word or for every word the user types, you want to query that word. You want to query the server for that word. You want to
Hmm.
send an API request. So
Yeah.
I I debounce to
Okay.
ensure that, yeah, I use debounce to ensure that there's no multiple API calls. Yeah, so because in the beginning of my career, I faced that issue. Like imagine at every click of a word in a search input, an API is being called. It's very, very bad. It can cause a lot of performance issues. So yeah, I use debounce. What else? Like some images that are too large. I learned earlier in my career to render image according to the viewport. So for smaller images, I render an image with lesser resolution. For smaller screens, sorry. For larger screens, I render an image with a larger resolution. I use lazy loading as well for images. Mm, that actually helps. Then for React Native, mostly we use flat list to ensure that only the visible area of the screen showcase data. So the data is not completely fetched at once. It just fetches data as you scroll, just to ensure fetching data at once. So that can cause a lot of performance issues. So those are the little things I do here and there to ensure that um, my code is performant. I use profilers most times to identify areas of my code that takes longer time and optimize it. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. So here's a question. It's not part of of the questions we have prepared for today, but I just want to ask though, from your experience, doing React Native, have you encountered any bugs that it wasn't from you writing locally on your personal machine or anything? The bugs actually, are, something that React Native themselves difficult to fix. I'm just asking this question because, some people might be thinking about, the community base of React Native, compared to other, frameworks out there. So, it's just, level up the integrity of how, they actually, the time and effort, they actually put into making the framework absolutely great. So have you
Yeah.
encountered any bugs that had to do with React Native, the framework itself, that it in some kind of impediment, it was an impediment for you, right? And you couldn't go forward with building that or working on that feature, and you had to wait on React Native to fix that bug. Have you ever encountered something like that?
Yeah, so that's one thing people need to know about React Native. You will experience that a lot.
Okay.
You experience that a lot. But the good thing is, like I said, having to use a popular framework like React Native gives you the opportunity to get to see other people and other people's issues and how they navigated it.
Oh
So that's
yeah.
most Yeah, so that's mostly it. There's always a solution. There are sometimes okay, let me give an example. So I use React Native CLI,
Okay.
and for CLI you have more control and all that, but it has its limitations. And there are sometimes in fact there's something I do every time I build a React Native app for the first time. There's always this error on Xcode, and I just go and I click fix. It's always That error is always there.
Oh yeah. Oh
I just
yeah.
have to go there, identify the error and click fix. So that's just a simple example of a lot of there are like lots of things. Even when it comes to Android, especially Android bundle Gradle compatibility, we don't. Okay, you might see some articles that would say, okay, this SDK is compatible to this Gradle version. It's all guesswork at the end of the day, because most times when I face issues like that, I keep using different Gradle versions till I get the one for my project or for the version of the React I use.
Yeah.
So React Native compared to React, it has a lot of issues. But finding a way, you have to be patient. When it comes to React
Yeah.
Native, React Native tested me, like especially Android part. So you get a lot of that, really, you will. And it's just to ensure that you calm down, search. There's always something Sometimes you can also report it directly to React Native platform, but I've never had to do that. I just always find someone that fix it. Sometimes you go to React Native platform, you type in your question, there's somebody that have asked that particular issue, and people might prefer solutions. And then for the ones that there are no solution, you have to find a way around.
Absolutely beautiful. You know,
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you another question that, it was gonna be, you telling me about the features of React Native that significantly enhance the development experience, compared to traditional mobile application development techniques and other frameworks, but I think you pretty much a little bit talked about some important things there. Do you have anything else you want to add to it?
Okay, so the good thing about React Native is that it's not platform specific.
Yeah,
Writing code, you're writing for every platform, for both iOS and Android. That's the beautiful thing about
cross-platform.
React.
Yeah,
It's very, very beautiful. Like that alone, because imagine it's less expensive for companies. It takes lesser
yeah.
time. Imagine having to build a separate app for iOS and a separate app for Android. So that alone makes React Native very, very um, interesting. But the thing is, you're still going to face some platform specific issues.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially the UI. So sometimes what I do is I use React Native Paper. React Native Paper helps to ensure that whatever you see on your iOS, you see it on Android the same way. Because I've had a lot of issues when it comes to UI. Sometimes I just want to code with my iOS stimulator, and it looks good, and you're feeling your work.
Mm-hmm.
And then you try to run it on an emulator, an Android emulator, and be like, what's going on here? Right? So there's always that issue, but generally it helps like to write those codes at the same time. So it's just best practice to always run your app on both iOS and Android, even on device. Android is going to test you because Android is a lot. Techno, Samsung,
Oh
everybody
yeah,
with their screens and
yeah.
font size and all.
Mm-hmm.
So recently I faced an issue where um I built an app. There's this e-commerce app I'm building, and then on Samsung, okay, on other kinds of Android phone, it's
Okay.
showing like properly, but on Samsung, it just looks funny. So
Yeah.
that actually taught me one thing. I learned how to. I've forgotten the technique, what it's called, but I learned how to turn off the font setting, ensure that the font setting of the person's phone doesn't affect the application. It
Oh
just
yeah.
maintains fonts I set, because that can be a lot, especially in
Yeah.
Android. Some fonts can be very large and it's
Yeah.
going to just alter the way your app looks. Yeah.
Awesome. You've actually talked about a lot of things, so far. I do want to learn about this. I do not know if you actually touched, on this, but how do you approach testing, mobile applications? Do you want to share the tools and methodologies you'll find most effective, for ensuring, app stability?
Okay, so I do mostly manual testing.
Okay.
Um, yes. So being honest, well, automated testing can be a lot, especially in React Native. So yeah, I do mostly manual testing. Where I do most of the automated testing is on web personally. Yeah, but for React Native, for web I use Jest.
Okay.
Yeah, I use Jest for my automated testing.
Yeah.
For React Native, yeah, just test, and yeah, so that's it for React Native.
Awesome. So let's talk
Yeah.
about this. I mean, every tech podcast you listen to, you just would think they would talk about this. All right, so let's talk about AI. Ready?
Sure.
Okay, so do you want to talk about, um, let's say, just talk about AI in general and tell us how it's changing front-end development and mobile development, and tell
Yeah.
us, yeah, about AI platforms that you've actually used.
Okay, so for AI in development, it's actually revolutionizing our work, and AI helps us with a lot of things, like with the code whisperer that is embedded in most IDEs. It helps in code completion. It helps in debugging. It just optimizes everything, especially app performance as well. So AI plays a very huge role. For some products, there are chatbots that helps personalize user experience while on the
Hmm.
app, or optimize content based on the user's behavior, based on user's preference. So AI is doing a lot for development. Yeah, a lot of people are scared that AI is going to take our jobs, but I see it differently because I've read a lot about what other people thought. And to be honest, AI is actually a friend. It's more of a friend than an enemy. AI is now going to help us with some repetitive tasks.
Yeah.
Most times I use it to build helper functions that I don't have to sit all day to figure out. So yeah, AI is a tool and it depends on the person using it. So when it comes to front end, there are lots of AI tools now that are really helpful. And for the longest time, people have been scared that AI is going to take our job. AI is going to There've always been something that's like all these low code or no code tools now. They've always been there from WordPress to Webflow and the rest. But our job as front end developers is still there. Why? Because only AI cannot replace the human factor. Like
Of
every
course.
company
Yeah.
wants a website not to be generic because that's the part the user actually interacts with. Every company wants a special feel, a special effect to their website, and it's only a human being that can make that happen. It's even easier to use just AI maybe for backend, but for front end, I don't see it taking our jobs. It just makes it easier. It just makes it faster. So, based on the recent trend in AI, what I try to do is I try to learn how to integrate AI into my work. And in future, I might look into machine learning. Who knows?
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, that's really cool. So, yeah. Do you want to talk about the AI, tools and platforms that you actually use?
Okay. So, like I said, I use Amazon Code Whisperer.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I think that's then I use normal GPT
Oh, yeah.
for yeah, just to always do my research sometimes. In fact, there's an AI called Front End AI, which I'm going to check out. I
Okay.
heard that you can actually just build components there and export it in React or in Vue or whatever.
Well,
So, um,
it's nice.
yeah,
I'll check it out as well.
yeah, Front End AI, Amazon. I heard about UIZ. So there's always been, even before, as of last year, I heard a lot about how you can now convert. Sometimes you can just catch and then it will convert it to code and all that. So yeah, yeah, it's doing great things, and it's cool. It's actually cool.
All right. Awesome. So, I mean, a lot of people, everyone watching right now, they've been waiting for this question. And you know what the question is? Yeah,
Oh,
I want to learn about what advice would you give to someone starting out in front-end or mobile development? What roadmap would you suggest for beginners?
okay. So I said earlier that just we are okay as a beginner. You're in a journey of self development. You're in a journey of self discovery.
Yeah.
And give any advice, it's not one size fits all. Your journey is different. There are some things you are good at, and there are some things that you struggle with. So I always advise people before they even get into tech, learn about everything, every aspect of tech. You can try it, most things on a surface level, before
Hmm.
you can now decide that okay, this is what I want to do.
That's
So
right.
if you want to get into front end development, I've mentioned it before, please learn the basics. There are lots of HTML, CSS out there. A lot of people think HTML, CSS is easy. CSS will try you. Ask backend guys. I would say most backend guys, they tried. In fact, it's natural. It's just normal. Everybody wants to enter tech. The first thing they do is HTML, CSS. And then for most people that eventually went into backend, CSS showed them shaky. Like CSS dealt with them. So yeah,
Yeah.
CSS is very tricky, but if you know CSS very well, before you, in fact, no vanilla JavaScript, no vanilla CSS before you start using Tailwind or Chakra UI or whatever. Know the basics. I always say it. Take your time, learn. I know you cannot just completely learn JavaScript, but ensure that you learn. Try and build things in vanilla JavaScript. That's even an advice to myself.
Oh
I want to
yeah.
try and like on the side, try and build more things because there's a way you use frameworks a lot and you might not even remember how to build things in vanilla JavaScript.
Yeah.
So yeah, stay there, get your hands dirty, try and build projects, break
Yeah.
code, fix it. Just don't be afraid. I was stuck in tutorial hell learning. When I started learning, I was stuck in
Oh
tutorial hell.
yeah.
I didn't have that confidence to build something from the scratch without watching one YouTube video or the other because I
Yeah.
was just so. Please don't get stuck there because it takes a lot to get out of that. So sometimes just open your system, open your code editor and just start coding. Code anything that comes to your mind, just code it. And there's nothing that beats that kind of experience. And then in learning frameworks, just in fact at the back of your mind, just know that being a developer is not by knowing this framework or that framework. It's just all about how you adapt to new technologies. Learn how to pick up things that you're not familiar with. Learn how to read people's code. Learn how to understand code bases. I think that's one thing I'm very like. I try to be good at. I know how to continue someone's code. I just see what
Yeah.
you've doing, understand it. It's a very good skill for a developer
Yeah.
to have how to take up an existing code base. Yeah, so that's the advice. And there's no quick money in tech because there are lots of misinformation online, on Instagram, on Twitter. Most times I just see people that would be like, I don't know why you're complaining you're broke. Just go learn coding, and in 3 months you should start earning in
Hmm.
foreign currency and all that. And it's not like that. It's not like that. A lot of us started really small. Our first year was quite challenging. Second year was crazy, but
Hmm.
it's journey. But don't always have that at the back of your mind as a starter that in 3 months you'll start making a lot of money. That would kind of bring a lot of discouragement. If you go into tech with the wrong expectation, you can easily get discouraged and leave. There are lots of people that started the tech journey, but they dropped off because they had unrealistic expectations. So yeah, that's my advice.
All right. That's really cool. So yeah, great advice. Okay, let's talk about how you actually maintain a healthy work-life balance while managing projects, and improving your technical skills as a developer.
Yeah. Okay. It's not been easy. I won't lie. I struggle. I struggle a lot with maintaining that balance because I always tell people that being a developer, you can't close your laptop on Friday. Like sometimes in office settings, I see people in other kinds of profession be like, oh, thank God it's Friday, and they'll close their laptop. In fact, they'll keep it at in the office and go home.
Yeah.
But developers, most times we go home to continue the work. So finding that balance is, yeah, very important, and it's something I still struggle with. But I ensure that my Sundays are for me. Saturdays sometimes is quite hard, but ensure that there's a day out of the week that you set out for just yourself,
Yeah.
to just rest because it can be very overwhelming and we do a lot of brain work. So you really need to relax your brain and and set boundaries too with employees or
Yeah.
employers.
Okay.
Set boundaries, set healthy boundaries, and set boundaries with your colleagues. And yeah, so that's it. But the thing is, for me generally, I struggle with even finding time for personal development. You get
Oh
so
yeah.
caught up with meeting deliverables that sometimes you forget, oh, I need to learn this, I need to learn that. And it's something that you always need to keep at the back of your mind that you need to set out some time to for your personal goals, for your personal learning. So That's it.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool. All right.
Yeah.
So, do you want to tell me about your personal goals for the next, let's say, next few years,
Um,
and how do you plan to achieve them?
okay, so I plan to be a tech founder soon. Uh,
Awesome.
yes, I want to like build a product that would answer to one particular need or the other. It's still something I'm figuring out, and it's something I feel a lot of people rush into, but I don't want to rush it. That's the reason why I take up a lot of projects. I do a lot of things. I don't know, but it might not show, but it's actually preparing me for when I want to start my own thing. That's why I'm
Absolutely.
yeah, I started my career with a lot of startups. I've seen a lot of startups fail. I've seen the ones that succeed. I know what they did. I know what they didn't do. It's a learning process. But yeah, in the next few years, I want to see myself as being a product owner, and building a solution that people use, that you can just mention it and people know what you're talking about and what the application does.
And it's definitely okay. Yeah, tell me.
Yeah, so yeah, that's the goal. That's the goal. I just want to be a solution provider. That's the major reason I even started this in the first place, because I've never been one to be mediocre. I always just try to ensure that I'm not on the same level at the same like for a long time. So
Yeah.
after this, yeah, so that's it.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm gonna be looking
Yeah,
out for the beautiful things that you've got coming up, even though it's not right now, but of course.
yeah,
Yeah, and
thank you.
guys, you want to make sure that you follow Faith. I'm gonna drop her LinkedIn in the description. So, yeah. Okay, so and of course, what you're thinking about, building, it's definitely gonna, have a great impact, on people's lives, right?
Yes, that's something that I look forward to achieving, something that is very impactful, not just building a
Yeah.
product for the sake of building a product. There's still some missing gaps, and I intend to fill it.
Yeah, talking about impact, if you could have one area of technology that you could impact, what would it be, and why would you choose that specific field?
Come again.
Yeah, still talking about impact, right? So, if you could impact one area of technology, what would it be, and why would you choose that specific field?
Hmm. Okay. Area of technology. I've actually not thought about it, so that's why I'm taking a while to think about it. One area of technology. Well, when you say area of technology, what do you mean? Like,
I
um,
mean, it could a lot of things. Maybe I don't know, fintech. I don't know. Maybe
okay, I'll
some
say,
emerging technologies, right now, right?
mm,
For instance, think about, I mean, it's gonna be something that you can fathom, but for instance, think about the things the things Meta they're currently doing right now. Zuck and the Meta team, they're coming up with these interesting, Orion glasses. You've heard about them, right?
Orion glasses.
Yeah, you've probably seen, posts on YouTube and other social media platforms of Zuck presenting these, glasses that have great tech in them. Yeah,
Okay, yeah,
so
yeah,
yeah, I do not just want to, narrow your vision to certain options that I could pull out for you right now. So it's something
yeah.
that probably you should have, thought about. So what do you think?
Okay. Um, Most times when I think of the product I want to build, I'm thinking around the area of providing apps that's providing convenience mostly.
Oh yeah.
Because yeah, as a tech person, sometimes I wish I can just click an app and someone come and do my chore,
Oh
or
yeah.
someone, yeah. So I am somebody that is heavy on convenience. So
Yeah.
that is the aspect I want to go into, something that can help a lot of people to focus on making money and
Yeah, absolutely.
handle other things, because it's an unspoken challenge that a lot of people are thinking about. Going out to get gas and all that can be really distracting. Yeah,
Yeah,
so that's
yeah.
I think about this.
And if you could leave one piece of advice, or insight for the audience today, what would it be? Do you want to inspire them?
I'm not very good at inspiring people,
You
but
get this. You're very good. Come on, listening talk. I'm like, I do not want this to end. Do you understand?
yes.
So let's
Okay,
go.
so the inspiration is, please do not be mediocre in any aspect of your life, because you will not want to, maybe at 80 or 70, wish you took some chances. Do not, comfort zone is very dangerous. Don't stay there. Sometimes our fear is the fear of starting. I don't know. We always have this fear when we want to start something new. But if you notice, at the end of the day, when you actually do that stuff, you'll be like, why was I even afraid to start with? So don't let those fearful thoughts win. If you have something that you're striving to do, always remember that you can do it. Somebody else has done it. You can do it. Give all it takes to ensure that you do it, rather than just remaining there and not trying. So people think success is not failing. That's not what success is. Success is putting yourself out there. If you fail, you learn from the lesson. If you succeed, then it's fine. But always try to make sure you're doing something. Because I would have stayed in fashion, because when I was working in fashion, I was already a manager, and they got me an apartment in one of the luxury city places in Lagos. I would have said, okay, okay, I'm fine. But something in me wanted more, always wants more. Something in me wanted more. And when I left there, there are still people that have been working there for like 8 to 9 years, and they've not really recorded any growth, any milestone. And then and it's now that they want to, like, oh, I want to leave, I want to get something for myself. So please do not get caught up in your comfort zone. Always try, even in your relationship with people. Don't be mediocre. Always try, go out there, go all out, give all it takes. Yeah, so that's my thought.
That's so beautiful. I do want to say thank you, Faith, for
Yeah,
doing this. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and insights with our audience. It's been absolutely beautiful, profound insights, you've shared on here. And thank you for your time. Thank you for doing this. Appreciate it.
thank you too for having me.
Pleasure. All right, so that's all for now. Well, I've got a question to ask you that I ask all my guests. You probably know what the question is. No, you don't. Do you know what it is?
No.
Okay, well, well, here's the question. Are you subscribed to all my YouTube channels?
Okay. I think I've done that, all right. I
Oh
will.
yeah,
It's something that I should, yeah.
yeah.
That's not
So
even, I'm going to subscribe. I've
awesome.
not done that. Yeah.
I actually sent you the links on LinkedIn. So if you check your LinkedIn again, it's gonna be right there.
Okay. Okay, yeah. I'm going to attach my LinkedIn.
Yeah, of course, I'm
Um
gonna put your LinkedIn in the description.
okay, so please follow me on LinkedIn. I'm a front end dev. I'm
Yeah,
also a freelancer. I build projects for people. I have a team. Aside from my normal job, I have a team of good developers that can actually take up your projects. So you can always hit me up on LinkedIn for web and mobile applications.
awesome. So, do you want to tell
Thank
them to
you.
like this video and subscribe to this channel?
Please like and subscribe to this channel, and please comment. Don't be afraid to drop a comment. Yeah.
All right, that is it from Faith. Thank you so much again, and do have a beautiful rest of your day. I mean,
Thank you.
probably we could have another session together, right? Talking about a specific topic or whatnot, sometime
Yeah,
later.
sure. To that. Yeah.
All right, that'd be all for now. Cheers and thank
All
you.
right. Thank you for having me.
Pleasure.
Bye.
Yeah, bye.